I'm going to start this video by saying the middle class in 2026 is not looking great. I'm not going to go as far to say that it's cooked, but I can say the goalpost for success has moved for our generation. This video is especially for those Gen Zers out there, and you're going to hear why. Also, while I have y'all's attention in the first 30 seconds of this video, I'm going to preface this. This is not going to be your stereotypical doomer video. This video will have slight complaining, but the difference is that I'm going to tell you how to get out of feeling stuck and feeling trapped. I do not let the victim mindset get to me, and neither do I want that for my audience. If you just recently gotten into the workforce, let's say in the last 5 years, because I've been working full time for about 4.5 now, so I don't want to speak for anybody that's older than me, but I feel like today I'm working a solid ass engineering job, making pretty good money, doing all the things I was told to do. And yet, somehow, it still feels like real financial freedom is always out of the reach for me. And I think all of us just have to buckle our chin straps and just accept that this is the new reality and age that we live in. We are going to have to invest harder, work harder, figure out ways how to make income on the side. And that's the recipe for how we're going to break free out of this middle class trap. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that I'm doing right now to break out of the trap. And please let me know in the comments if you agree with these or you have any other different ideas that you're experimenting with. Let's dive into it. First, you have to understand something right out of the gate. If you're even in a position to complain about the middle class trap, you are already more blessed than a massive portion of the world. Because there are plenty of people dealing with real financial distress right now, where food on the table and keeping the lights on is a daily struggle. The way I personally look at it is the middle class trap is like a snake in the grass, because on paper, your life is going to look completely fine. You'll be paying your bills, you'll be covering your groceries, you can still take a trip here and there. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and remove the whole quote unquote just buy a house narrative from this conversation because a large chunk of the modern middle class, especially those Gen Zers, the goal of buying a house is starting to feel further and further out of reach, and pretending otherwise doesn't really help anybody. What makes this trap so nasty to get out of is that it doesn't feel like you're struggling. It feels like you're permanently busy, but never quite gaining the ground you need to get ahead. Where your income is solid enough to support a nice lifestyle, but just tight enough that the big freedom goals are still out of reach. Whether that's buying your dream house, your dream vehicle, you name it. What tends to happen, especially through your 20s and early 30s, is that your income starts rising gradually. Maybe that steady 3 to 4% raise each year, maybe a promotion here and there. And naturally, your lifestyle begins to level up right alongside it in ways that feel completely justified. It starts with something like upgrading to a nicer apartment, then maybe stretching it a bit more on the vehicle, better furniture, more discretionary spending. But slowly and quietly, one day you look up and realize that despite making good money for decades, you start to feel like you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Now, let's talk about how you can actually start breaking out of this trap. The first thing you have to accept is that the middle class trap was not created overnight, and it doesn't get fixed overnight either. You have to start making small, smart decisions over time that give you breathing room between what you earn and what you spend. The simplest approach is simply just increasing your savings rate through budgeting. It's a practice that has been used for centuries. Money in minus money out equals money left over. It is simple as fuck, but you have to go through the basics to get out of the middle class trap. You have to master the basics first, really. So increase your savings rate, but then what do you do with all this new money that you saved? Well, you have to invest this money. Investing is the easiest way for the everyday Joe to build wealth and get out of the middle class trap. What worked well for me was treating investing like a fixed bill that has to get paid automatically every single month before I even see the money hitting my checking or savings account. Find out what works best for you and use it. So, going back to the idea of why the middle class can feel like a trap, and a big part of it honestly comes down to the fact that the cost of everything has been climbing way faster than the wages have been increasing. Groceries cost more, housing costs more, insurance costs more, and even the little things that you don't think about cost more. Those subscriptions, eating out, the price of a Big Mac, those have all crept up slowly over time. But for most people, the paychecks have not risen at the same pace, which is why it can feel like the financial goalpost keeps moving further and further away for those Gen Z folks and probably millennials too. That's exactly what I meant a few videos ago when I said that making six figures doesn't feel like enough money anymore. Because when you compare the purchasing power of a middle class income today to what the same income could provide you maybe back in the 2010s or 2000s, it just doesn't stretch the same way it used to. So the question becomes, what can you actually do about that instead of just sitting there frustrated about it? Well, for me, the answer has been focusing on building skills and opportunities that can eventually pay me outside of my normal 9 to 5 salary. That might mean learning how to create content online, figuring out how to market, improving my communication skills, or experimenting with small side hustles that have the potential to grow. For example, I'm continuing to invest time into building this YouTube channel because I believe that if I can keep improving how I communicate ideas and connect with people, helping them learn about personal finance, that it can eventually turn into a meaningful income stream down the road, while I'm also providing a huge service to lots of people that need personal finance guidance. At the same time, my fiance and I are doing similar things that bring in extra money right now, like dog sitting on Rover, which may not sound glamorous, but it's a practical way to stack some additional income while we build other skills on the side. The bigger point here is that breaking out of the middle class trap usually comes with gradually increasing your earning potential and earning power by stacking skills, trying out new things, and creating opportunities outside of just relying on a single paycheck. And if you're someone who feels like the financial system keeps moving the goalpost on you, my honest recommendation would just be to start doing something similar to what I'm doing, because developing new skills that can eventually generate income is one of the most realistic ways to start taking back a little control of your financial future. Another reason the middle class can feel like a trap, and honestly, I feel like I bring this up in almost every video, is that your own lifestyle can quietly keep you stuck here too. And I'm not saying that from my high horse, because even though I'm making really good money right now, I'll be the first to admit that my spending habits still are not perfect. Lifestyle creep is a real thing, and it sneaks up on you faster than you expect. As your income goes up, your spending just kind of rises to meet it without you even realizing it. It is just actually so funny for me to look back on it now, because when I was in college working at the bar, making about 15 bucks an hour, paying my rent and spending most weekends just drinking cheap beer with my friends, I felt like I had plenty more money at the time, and I felt like I was rich for a college kid. Life was simpler, my expectations were lower, and somehow that smaller income felt more than enough for the lifestyle I was living. Because sometimes the difference isn't just the paycheck, it's the lifestyle that grows around it. So let me know in the comments if you ever caught yourself thinking about that too. And the last thing that keeps a lot of people feeling stuck in the middle class is the amount of debt that so many people are carrying around today. Debt has a way of quietly locking up your future income before you even earn it. And once enough of your paycheck is already spent paying off the high interest debt, it becomes really hard to build any financial momentum. One of the biggest traps people fall into is buying things they just can't simply afford yet, especially when it comes to cars. I'll be honest about this one because I learned it firsthand. Do not go out and buy a brand new car if you do not actually have the money to buy it in cash. Trust me, I've done it before and the excitement wears off way faster than you think. The moment you drive that car off the lot, it immediately starts depreciating, and a couple of years later, when the next shiny model of car comes out, you'll probably find yourself wanting that one, instead of you making payments on the current one, the one you went into debt for. The same thing applies to credit cards and financing things that you don't have the cash for. When you start stacking purchases on a credit card just to keep up with a lifestyle, you're basically borrowing from your future self, and that interest is going to quietly eat away at your ability to build wealth. I'm not saying all debt is bad at all. There's situations like mortgages and some degrees in higher education where debt can make sense. But constantly financing lifestyle purchases is one of the fastest ways to keep yourself financially stuck in the middle class, even when you're making a good income. My recommendation on how to get out of this trap is very simple. Just don't get into high interest debt. Build up your emergency fund, hit your investment goals, then consider spending money on the fun things. Delayed gratification can work wonders for you. So that's pretty much all I had in this video. Leave a comment down below if you are indeed feeling stuck in the middle class right now. And leave a like if you want to break out of the middle class cycle by implementing some of the tips and tricks that I talked about in this video. As always, thank you for supporting the channel. I'll see you all in the next one.